everyone. Welcome to a special video-only edition of Filmsplaining. This is my first time speaking directly to camera, and it's kind of awkward and very strange. I'm usually talking to someone else on my podcast, or I'm talking to myself, so bear with me here, but I wanted to start making some videos like this, and I think now is the right time to start because the Oscars nominations have dropped, and I'm going to give my reactions to it. I'm going to talk about what I think is going to win versus what I personally would like to see win. What I think should win, because they often are not one and the same. This is a very interesting year. Is it good? Has it been a good movie year? I feel like there's been a handful of films this year that I've really liked, and just a very few that I've loved. I'm going to give a kind of like best of 2024 podcast and video next week, so stick around for that. But right now I'm just talking about what was nominated for the big award show. This award show that fewer and fewer people watch every year, that seems to not really be able to justify its existence, especially in the age of streaming. You can't even stream this telecast unless you sign up for some kind of premium service. So it's getting harder and harder to watch. Just stream the Oscars. Just make it happen. Maybe it'll happen this year. I haven't really looked into it, but let's hope. So I'm only going to do what I feel like are the big categories. Most of the documentaries this year I have not seen. Most of the short films I have not seen. I've only seen like one or maybe two of the animated features. Let's start with some technical stuff. Best Sound. The nominees are Emilia Perez, A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, The Wild Robot, and Wicked. So, personally, I feel like Dune Part 2 should win this award. The sound of that film in the theater was astonishing. I don't really see anything sticking out to me on the sound end from the rest of these nominees. I haven't seen Wicked. It's not my bag, not my cup of tea. Emilia Perez, we'll get into everything that I think about that movie later on because it's going to come up a lot in this video. It has the most nominations of any movie. A Complete Unknown, I'm not sure why they would award this sound when it's so heavily geared towards the actual songs themselves and songwriting. I didn't particularly think the sound was anything to marvel at. The Wild Robot, I just don't know. I haven't seen that film. It's an animated film, so I'm not sure why sound would be rewarded here. It's most likely going to win animated feature. My pick would be Dune Part 2, and that's also what I think will win Best Sound. For Best Costume Design, the nominees are A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Wicked, and Nosferatu. I personally would love to see Nosferatu here. I'm thrilled that it even got nominated for several of the below-the-line awards because I thought it was going to be one of those like, oh, critics love the look of this movie, but they're probably not going to reward it. I'm glad to see it nominated here. I think it should win, and I think it probably will win. The only thing else that I could see coming away with this would be Wicked, because it is such a crafts-heavy movie, and that may very well be the case. I'm going to say that Nosferatu will win, and that it should win. For Best Film Editing, Emilia Perez, Conclave, Wicked, Anora, and The Brutalist. Editing is always a tricky award. Very often the Academy tends to stick with what is the most editing versus what is the best editing. I think the most editing certainly would be Emilia Perez. I mean, many of the musical sequences in that movie are almost incoherent because there's so much editing. Conclave is an interesting choice, but I don't think the editing in particular stuck out to me for that movie. I could see... I think it probably is going to be The Brutalist. The Brutalist is edited very well. In fact, the very first opening sequence has some really stunning editing because you're being forced to focus on a lot of different stimuli at the same time. I'm going to say The Brutalist will win, and I think it should win as well. For Best Production Design, nominees are Conclave, Dune Part 2, Wicked, Nosferatu, and The Brutalist. I think this would be another good place to award Dune Part 2 something, because it's barely nominated in anything else above the line. It didn't even get a Best Director. It has a Best Picture, but there's no chance at it winning. Nosferatu would also be good to see here. The production design of that movie is astounding, and probably, I think, its lead strength along with the cinematography. The Brutalist, this could happen, it being a period piece, and a period that the Academy is likes to go back to a lot. Personally, I'm going to say I would like to see Nosferatu win this, but I would also take Dune Part 2. I'm not going to comment on the Wicked thing again because, again, I haven't seen it. There's a good chance that it does win. For my pick to win, I'm going to go with Nosferatu. I think Wicked will probably win this. If they're going to reward Wicked at all, it feels like it's going to be here or in makeup and hairstyling. Let's say Wicked wins production design. Makeup and hairstyling. Speaking of Wicked, nominees are Wicked, Emilia Perez, The Substance, A Different Man, and Nosferatu. This is a stacked category. Emilia Perez, I'm just going to go ahead and bump that one off the board. There's nothing spectacular about the makeup or hairstyling in that movie. Wicked, like I said, this will probably happen. I am really interested in the fact that A Different Man is here. I think it's the only nomination for this film. The makeup in that film is astonishing. I'm also really interested in The Substance being here. The Substance has been the kind of like dark horse movie of awards season. It really kind of came out of nowhere and has garnered all these nominations, and the director Coralie Farja has amassed a huge amount of respect. Demi Moore has amassed a huge amount of respect for her work in this movie. I could see it going to The Substance. I could also see it going to Nosferatu. There's great makeup and hairstyling in that movie as well. Another period piece. This is a toss-up, honestly. I'm going to say my personal pick would be probably The Substance, but I would also enjoy seeing A Different Man. I'll add a caveat to that. I think it will be Wicked or The Substance. We'll see. I'm going to say Wicked for now. For Best Cinematography, the nominees are Emilia Perez, Dune Part 2, Maria, Nosferatu, and The Brutalist. Maria is the definitely odd man out here. I think it's the only nomination that film got. Ed Lockman's a very well-respected cinematographer, so this makes sense. Emilia Perez, once again, there's nothing remarkable about this film, in my opinion, especially the cinematography. I think it's most likely going to go to Greg Fraser for Dune Part 2. The just sheer ambition of what he achieved is worthy of it getting cinematography. I also would like to see Nosferatu here as well. Nosferatu, not my favorite of the year, but technically it's absolutely stunning, and I could see this happening for Jaron Blaschke. I'm going to say my will win is Dune Part 2, and my should win is Dune Part 2, because I think it deserves it here. Best Original Screenplay. Nominees are A Real Pain, The Substance, September 5, Anora, and The Brutalist. Yeah, no major surprises here. September 5 is interesting. I think that's the only thing it was nominated for. A film I haven't seen yet. It's just not out where I am. A Real Pain it seems like a good place to reward Jesse Eisenberg here, since he was not nominated for director or actor, and it is a great screenplay. I can also see Anora happening. It's a very good chance that this is the only award that Anora is going to take home, so it would be a good time to recognize it here. The Brutalist is also in contention, although I think really the focus pretty much the entire run has been on Adrian Brody's performance and the sort of monumental achievement that film has garnered. The Substance is also a good choice. I mean, there's no losers here in this category. I'm going to say I personally would like to see Anora, just because I feel like Sean Baker needs a win from this movie because he worked so hard on it and it's so good. And I think either Anora or A Real Pain is going to win. Let's say Anora for now, and I'll put a little caveat for A Real Pain. I'll give myself half a point if A Real Pain wins Best Original Screenplay. Best Visual Effects. This is a funky one. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Okay. Better Man. More monkeys. Dune Part 2. Wicked. And Alien Romulus. Yeah, this is a total toss-up. Who knows what they're thinking here. I imagine it's going to go to Dune. Again, I feel like Dune is going to get at least a few of the below-the-line awards. Alien Romulus is a really weird choice here. I think the effects were mostly great in that movie. I actually rewatched it the other night. It holds up. There are a few stunningly bad effects and stunningly bad choices. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is like a fine movie that has pretty good effects, I guess. Better Man, I don't know why this is here other than to try and get people to go see it, because no one is going to see that movie. My pick for will win is Dune Part 2, and my pick for should win Best Visual Effects is also Dune Part 2. Best Original Score, Emilia Perez. Conclave, The Wild Robot, Wicked, and The Brutalist. This feels pretty weak as far as original score goes. Number one, no nomination for Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's work on Challengers, which should absolutely be here. Huge snub. They were also not nominated for Queer, which is a shame because that's also a great score. The Brutalist, I must say, was probably my favorite score of the year. I've been listening to it in my car a lot, and it's very good. It's just really, really good. Conclave, I just don't remember much about that score. Great movie, but the score did not stand out to me. The Wild Robot is also kind of a strange choice here, given that it's animated and the primary focus otherwise is on the visual aspect of that film. I'm going to say The Brutalist for will win and should win. Best Director. This is pretty stacked. Corley Farja for The Substance. James Mangold, A Complete Unknown. Sean Baker for Honora. Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez. And Brady Corbet for The Brutalist. This is really interesting because this is going to dictate who wins Best Picture. They are very, very rarely mismatched here. And so I'm seeing Emilia Perez here, which has me worried because I feel like Emilia Perez is going to walk away with it. It's a gut feeling, but also all of the outlets that I normally read, all the podcasts I listen to that cover these kinds of things, they're all feeling like this is the year that this movie is going to win for some reason, even though most people just don't seem to like it or really connect with it at all. It's tough. I would like to see Sean Baker win for Honora. I think that's the right call here. Of these 5 films, I think that that's probably the best directed one. I would also really like to see Corley Farja win this because she just made a stunning piece of work and it's so original and so bold. And the fact that it's getting so much recognition at the Academy leads me to believe that like maybe there's a kind of subtle wave of The Substance of everyone really connecting with this movie and talking about how fucking wild it is. I don't know. I'm going to say maybe it's The Brutalist year. I don't know. That movie's in a lot of hot water right now, in case you haven't read the news about its use of AI. That's not a discussion for this particular video, but I do have the poster that I got with my IMAX screening on my wall behind me. My hope to win, who I think should win, is Sean Baker for Honora. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to say Brady Corbet for The Brutalist is going to win this. There's a chance that it happens, although with the news this week, there's a much bigger chance that it doesn't. Let's say Brady Corbet. I'll probably be wrong about this one. Best Adapted Screenplay. The nominees are Emilia Perez, Sing Sing, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, and Nickel Boys. Really cool to see both Nickel Boys and Sing Sing here. I've not seen either of those movies because they're both impossible to see. Nickel Boys has not been released other than a very limited release in New York and LA. The release strategy of Sing Sing is beyond baffling. They released it 3 separate times, and none of the times I was able to see it because it wasn't playing in wide release. So I'm going to go ahead and say those 2 are out, although this would be a good win for Nickel Boys. I think that movie has a lot of critical esteem, and people are really, really digging what Ramel Ross is doing, and he's been really popular on the circuits lately. I'm going to say my should win, personally here. It's tough. I've only seen 3 of these films. It's not A Complete Unknown, that's for sure. I really hope it's not Emilia Perez. I'm going to say Nickel Boys. That's what I hope wins. I haven't seen the film. I'm eagerly looking forward to seeing it once it's available to me. And I think that it will win as well. For Best Supporting Actor, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, Yura Borisov for Honora, Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. This is so easy. It's Kieran Culkin. That's it. Next. Best Supporting Actress, Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave. It is so cool to see Monica Barbaro here. She's the best part of that movie, in my opinion. Her performance as Joan Baez, someone who is just as impossible to imitate as Bob Dylan is. She taught herself how to sing and play, like she just didn't know how to sing before doing this movie, which is insane. She really gives that movie a kind of vivacity that it otherwise is totally lacking. I found myself watching that movie wishing that I was either watching her as Joan Baez in her own movie or just a kind of a film about their relationship together. Felicity Jones, this could happen. I kind of doubt it, unless it's going to be like a brutalist sweep. Zoe Saldana pretty much has this locked down. She's been really, really, really campaigning and really getting a lot of acclaim. I think that if there's one good thing about Emilia Perez, it is Zoe Saldana's performance. She really gave it her all, and I think she's going to walk away with this. So, will win. Zoe Saldana. Should win. Zoe Saldana. Best Animated Feature. Flow. Inside Out 2. The Wild Robot. Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. And Memoir of a Snail. I think that The Wild Robot has had this locked since it came out, which was a long time ago now. Flow is also getting a lot of love. People just saying that that movie is really a tearjerker. But they're also saying that about The Wild Robot. I think The Wild Robot just hit so hard and so completely that there's no chance that anything else wins. And on the off chance that there is, it's going to be Flow. My will win and should win for Best Animated Feature is The Wild Robot. Best Actor. The nominees are Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice, Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, and Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. The surprise here is Sebastian Stan, which this has kind of been coming for a little while. I think after his whole no one wants to talk to me about the Trump movie thing, people really started to get behind the idea of getting him more recognition. I've not seen the movie. I'm not going to see the movie, but it's a good chance that he wins this because it's entirely political, and we are in the midst of a deeply political movement and moment. Moment. That's the word I meant to say. But I think it's Adrian Brody. I really think it's him. Coleman Domingo also getting a lot of praise for his performance, but like I said, so few people have been able to actually watch Sing Sing. Most of the people who do this kind of voting have probably already seen it. Chalamet, I don't know, man. I think he's going to win an Oscar at some point, but this ain't it. My pick for will win is Adrian Brody, and I think he should win because his performance is incredible. He really did great work here. Best International Feature Film. The Girl with the Needle. Flow. Emilia Perez. The Seed of the Sacred Fig. I'm Still Here. So this I'm Still Here movie from Brazil just kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know a single person who has seen this movie. A lot of people commented online that they saw it at festivals back in the fall or that it was playing in New York. That's great, but most people have never heard of this film. The actress Fernanda Torres won the Golden Globe, which also came out of nowhere. Big surprise. Emilia Perez, if it doesn't get Best Picture, it's going to get Best International. I've heard really good things about The Girl with the Needle. I'm looking forward to checking it out on Mubi in a couple days. And Flow, haven't seen it, but once again, very, very well regarded. I think if it doesn't win animated, I don't think it has much of a chance here. I'm going to go with will win, I'm Still Here. For should win, yeah, I think it should win as well. Why not? Let's get more people to see this movie. Best Actress. Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. Demi Moore for The Substance. Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez. Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. Mikey Madison for Anora. So if the Globes are any indication, there is a chance that Fernanda Torres could win this, but I think it's highly unlikely. I'm pretty sure Demi Moore is walking away with this, which is wild to say, because if you had told me back when I saw The Substance the first time in theaters that she was going to be nominated, let alone win, I would be very surprised, because this is not the kind of performance that is usually rewarded at the Academy Awards. That being said, maybe there's a change in the air. Maybe some new things are happening at the Oscars. Some kind of fresh perspective is finally going to toss us something that is unpredictable, like The Substance. However, Mikey Madison simply gave my favorite performance of the year. I think she's absolutely remarkable in Anora. And, I kind of hope she wins. I really hope she wins. She's very young. She has an incredibly long and fruitful career ahead of her. So it's a good chance that this won't be the last time we see Mikey Madison on this stage. It would be nice for Demi Moore to take it, though. I think that would really mean a lot as far as the expectations we have for actresses of a certain age and what they are allowed to do and what they're able to do, I think it's going to be Demi Moore. I think she's winning this thing. My personal pick, though, that I would love to see is Mikey Madison for Anora. Best Picture. Here we go. It's the big one. Emilia Perez, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Nickel Boys, I'm Still Here, The Substance, Dune Part 2, Wicked, Anora, and The Brutalist. I don't know, man. This is a wide open year. It's been fits and starts with a lot of these movies. Anora had so much heat coming out of Cannes and really rode that for a long time. And then people started talking about Emilia Perez. And then they started talking about The Brutalist. I think it's definitely going to be one of those three. I would be shocked if something like Conclave won Best Picture, not really picking up other things. You know, there are several of these that are here just for show. Dune Part 2, I think they just wanted to recognize the achievement that it is. It has no chance at winning. There was also a very subtle kind of Wicked wave for a while of like, is this going to be kind of revenge for Barbie? Of like having this very populist, giant kind of musical sweeping thing that families enjoy. Is it time to do that again at the Oscars? I don't think that's happening now. It doesn't feel like it's going to happen. And from everything that I've been hearing from other critics and people who are around the business or in the business, it seems like it's either The Brutalist, Emilia Perez, or Anora. And it feels most likely to me that it's between The Brutalist and Emilia Perez. Again, I do not want to see Emilia Perez win Best Picture. I think it's a terrible film. If you want my full chaotic thoughts on it, check out my Letterboxd review. I'll put it in the description. But, you know, people are saying, as as so many of us like to say now, people are saying it could be the year of Crash 2.0. So, between Anora, The Brutalist, and Emilia Perez, which I think are definitely the final three, I personally would love to see Anora win. I also would like to see The Brutalist win. And I think it has the best shot if we count out Emilia Perez. I'm going to say The Brutalist should win. AI controversy aside, and I have my own thoughts on that, it's an astonishing piece of work that is incredibly rare to get nowadays. I went to an IMAX screening, and it was like a packed house. This is a 3.5-hour movie with an intermission, and it was packed. People will come out for this kind of thing. You just have to know how to get them there. You have to know how to market this kind of movie in order to get people to recognize it. People want more of this. They want more real, genuine human stories, all of which these films are. Emilia Perez, say what I want about it, it is still a genuine human story. I just think it was handled extremely poorly. I also really would like to see Anora win here. I don't think Anora has a chance. I'm going to be hopeful and say that The Brutalist will win Best Picture at this year's Academy Awards. And I think it should win. However, there's a good chance that it's going to be Emilia Perez. Okay, that's enough blathering on for now. I will have my 24 of 2024 podcast/video out next weekend. It includes many of the movies I mentioned here today. A lot of these movies I really like, and I think it's going to be an interesting awards show. I won't be able to watch it live, sadly, as I'll be out of the country, but I will be keeping up with the race as it stands now. If this is your first time on the channel, I hope you enjoyed this. Please check out my podcast, Filmsplaining with Martyn Strange. Check out my other videos here. I recently did a video essay on the work of David Lynch, as he just very sadly passed away recently, and tried to talk about what his work means to me and how it has affected so many people. All right. That's it.